Scoreboard Sports. It's your boy RJ Cash. Click that like, hit subscribe. College football playoff betting so far after this Delaware game tonight. We're going to be 4-1 in the bowls. 4-1. Lost the Boise State game. Got the Jacksonville State with the under came through. Got Old Dominion. Now Delaware. So 4-1 to start the bowls. Not bad. College football playoff this weekend. Check out our show. We did a show on each and every game on the CFP, breaking down each and every one, diving into it, and giving you my lean and giving you two of them I really, really like outright plays. But let's get into this one. Now, this will nightcap the first round and put a bow on the first round, have you, late Saturday night. Close, near and dear here to home. The James Madison Dukes get in as the 12 seed. They got a tall task, though. They're going to head out to Eugene and play the Oregon Ducks, the number 5 seed. Right now, the Ducks laying 21.5. 47.5 is the total. 78% ticket count. 65% the handle is on the over. 22% ticket count. 35% the handle to the under. Now, when you look at the sides, this is clearly pros versus Joes, right? The Joes say we like Oregon. 73% of tickets, but only 40% of the money. 27% ticket count, but 60% of the money going to the Dukes. Obviously, those Sharpies love the Dukes. Home and away stats we'll get into in a minute. JMU comes in 12-1, straight up 8-5 against the spread. 5-1 on the road this year. Oregon 11-1, 7-4-1 ATS, 6-1 at home. Now, you may say, well, who's JMU beating? They did beat a Washington State team 24-20, but you are correct. They haven't beat a whole lot of upper class. They haven't had to play the schedule Oregon's had to play. What I would say, though, is this started back with Kirk Cignetti building this JMU program, and I've had a front row seat to it. And I'll say this, JMU has been denied 7 years in a row. They've been trying to get into the ACC, and the ACC won't let them in, probably because every time an ACC team plays them, they kick their rear end. But all sports, girls basketball, boys basketball, like they just won't let JMU in. So this JMU team, while they're playing a Sun Belt schedule, while they're not in a big power conference, and I think sometimes they sleepwalk through games, they've also showed the ability to absolutely beat the snot out of people. You saw an Old Dominion team take on South Florida. Now, you might say, well, South Florida didn't have their quarterback. He's everything. Coach left. Old Dominion's quarterback not only was a perennial thrower, he was also their leading rusher, and they beat South Florida up and down the field. Well, Old Dominion got beat by JMU 63-27. So, again, I'm not saying JMU is at the level of an Oregon. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you right now, you put this JMU team in the ACC, they're still probably a one-loss team in the ACC. They're other than, and I'm telling you because I watch them all the time, other than Miami, who I think JMU could beat, JMU's ripping through everybody. They're ripping a new one in Duke. They're ripping a new one in UVA. Again, this team is in the conference they're in because the ACC won't let them in, right? So I think we need to – I don't think this is going to be like your Tulane Ole Miss where you can see Ole Miss just throttle them. I need to be careful here. Now, Oregon, don't get me wrong. Dan Lang does a great job. They got pieces. They got speed. JMU obviously doesn't have Oregon's defense. I'm not going to get crazy and say something stupid like that. But when I look up and down Oregon's schedule, you know, the Big Ten, I say this all the time, they get a lot of credit. But other than Ohio State and now Michigan or Indiana, which has kind of replaced Michigan, usually the Big Ten's about two good teams. Like, I don't want to hear about Oregon State. I don't want to hear about Northwestern. I don't want to hear about how you beat a poor Penn State team by 6 and it took you friggin' overtime to do it. I don't want to hear about your win at Rutgers. I don't want to hear about beating Wisconsin 21-7 or beating Minnesota, beating USC. I care less about those. So Oregon, they played Indiana, had them at home and lost by 10. The best win Oregon has on their schedule is at Iowa, 18-16. And that Iowa team is solid. Kirk Ferentz and Iowa does a great job. But let's not act like Oregon, I think we get caught up in these names sometimes. It's just like Georgia. I'm hearing a lot about Georgia, and I'm like, listen, this Georgia team ain't as good as the past 3 years. Like, granted, they're ranked where they should be, but if you're telling me this Georgia team's going to win a national championship, I can't subscribe to that. All right, so I'm just saying to sew it up, kind of got on a rant there. JMU is better than a SoCo team. Right now, road and home splits. Let's get into that. JMU on the road, 12th best offense in college football, 34.17 points per game. Oregon at home, 13th best scoring offense in the nation, 42 points per game, so about a 7.5 point edge to Oregon. Defensively, JMU on the road gives up 16.8 points per game, good for 8th best in the country. Oregon, 15th best home scoring defense, 14.3 points per game. And that 14.3 compared to the 16.8, that's where I really want to focus this on. I know the total is set at 47.5 and everybody's all over the over. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an under type of game here. Would not be surprised whatsoever. Now, I will say this. I think as we get closer to game time here, you're going to see a lot of more over money come in. And I can't help but think you're going to see a ton of Oregon money come in. 48 degrees is what they're calling for in the forecast. Now, JMU's played to the over 5 of their last 7. They're on a 10-game winning streak, 5 straight on the road. They're 6-2 ATS as a dog. As a road dog, 4-4 ATS. Now, Oregon, 10-5 against the number of their last 15. They've won 6 straight. They're 19-1 their last 20 at home. And 9-4 ATS their last 13 as a favorite. The stat, though, that concerns me, as biasly, I would like JMU to win this game. They're not, but Oregon, 19-1, in their last 10 games as a home favorite, 9-1 straight up, 6-4 ATS. What gives me concern is Oregon, Eugene's one of the toughest places to play in the country. You got a team 19-1. I just think that's a tall order for JMU to climb. But listen, JMU, when you look at this, they're rushing the ball. They're giving up 112 rushing yards per game as to where Oregon's rushing for 212. JMU's defense is going to have to slow down this Oregon rushing attack. If they can keep Oregon 125 yards or under on the ground, JMU's going to have a shot. Not saying they're going to shock the world, but they're going to have a shot. Okay? JMU throwing for about 200 yards per game on the road. Oregon throwing for 254. Again, as good as Oregon's quarterback is, JMU, you got to take the run game away. You got to turn it into more of a passing game. JMU's got some solid play on the back end. The front 7 has got to stop the run. That's what matters more than anything in this. JMU's got to stop the run. Again, line sets 21.5, 47.5 is the total. Overwhelming support for Oregon, overwhelming support for the over. I will just say JMU giving up 16 points per game, Oregon giving up 14 points per game. That's 30, right? And you got a 47.5 total. Now, can Oregon come out and win this game 55-7? Oregon hasn't had that kind of outburst all year long, but I guess it's not off the table. Where I fall on this game is I see this game, if somebody had asked me, I see this game 31-13, 31-16 type of game. With that being said, I think the under's in play, but I also like JMU plus 21.5. I have a really hard time thinking JMU is going to get blown out by more than 3 touchdowns. Plus, Oregon, to be honest with you, I think they're overlooking them a little bit. Look, Oregon's game next week against Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech, a lot of people talking about Georgia. I think people should be talking about Texas Tech because I think they're a dark horse in this thing. But I'm going to take Oregon plus 20, or take JMU rather plus 21.5. I like the Dukes, that defense, only giving up 14 points on the road. I like that. Again, watch early. You might have some good in-game betting. If Oregon goes right down the field, don't be surprised, gets up 7-0. But you should know somewhere into that first quarter, get you kind of a good gauge to where you can fire on some good in-game stuff. RJ Cash, click that like, hit subscribe, Break the Board Sports, where we give you stats, trends, information to help you become a better handicapper, whether you fade or follow. I hope you win your bet. God bless and happy handicapping.